All right, so my original thought of what multicultural education was just kind of learning about each other's cultures and having an appreciation for each other's cultures. But I didn't really think about like doing much about it or like implementing it into the classroom. So something that I would like to do in the future for my classroom is like I think some important concepts are listening to a child and getting their story. If they're resisting learning or struggling in school, there could be a lot of out of school factors, like maybe they're maybe they have a single parent who's like struggling just to like get money to pay for school and for bills in the house and other things, so they don't have a lot of time to like spend like with their homework with their kids. Seeing every student with potential, that's like one of the big things of this class, I feel like, and about multicultural education is realizing that every child is a son or daughter of God and that they can do pretty much whatever they set their mind to. Taking responsibility for their learning. So instead of just blaming the student for not wanting to learn, the teacher should take it upon themselves. Well, what can I do better? Like, maybe I can use a different learning method strategy, or I can talk about different topics that are more interesting to my students, things like that. Getting to know students and their culture. I know my teachers that I've had in the past, the ones who like really get to know me personally and about my my interests, and like even if it's a big classroom, they still memorize everybody's names. Like they learn what's important to them. Like those classes and those teachers are a lot better overall, and I know if I'm struggling, I feel a lot more comfortable going to that teacher. And so I want to be one of those teachers and like get to know my students more and more about their strengths and weaknesses, and then more about their culture, because the culture is a lot of who they are. And then teaching students about successful examples of their culture and looking for models. So we talked about an example of like instead of like thinking of mostly just white male inventors, you can ask students, well, who was like a inventor from I don't know, Southeast Asia or something, who was successful. And then for the examples for the Anglo conformity, I thought of like those sugar cookies that you get that are like all like prepackaged. They're really good, but they all taste the same. They're all like frosted the same color with the same colored sprinkles, and there's no really variation or anything. And so Anglo conformity would just be like the classrooms and schools are just kind of to make everybody the same with the same outcome. That's kind of like it was one of them. I don't know, I can't remember where I put it, but it was basically like like equality, but not equality in the sense that everybody gets the same thing, but you don't get the same outcome, so it's not as efficient. And then for the melting pot, I thought of like a big pot of soup and how everybody, I feel like with soups, you kind of like pick what you like and what you don't like. Like if you don't like if it has tomatoes in it and you don't like tomatoes, when you're kind of like putting it in your bowl, you don't pick out, you take out the tomatoes because you don't want them. In our classrooms, kind of not accepting some qualities we don't like, and just kind of like avoiding those. And then for salad bowl, I thought of like usually people who eat salads are healthier eaters and they like more of a variety of foods, so they eat pretty much the whole salad and aren't super picky about it. So like accepting all of the values that we have. And then for the one that I made up, I remember this book growing up with, I think it's called Just the Way You Are, but I could be wrong. But basically it's about like the city of, it was like dolls or something, and whenever they did something great, they like got stickers or something. And there was this one doll who like didn't get any stickers, so he went to their maker, I guess, and he asked like why he didn't get a lot of stickers, and he was like, well, I like you just the way you are. So kind of, if that makes sense, just kind of accepting our students for who they are. They all have different strengths and weaknesses, and just like loving them and appreciating them for who they are, and working with them. Something that I would like to do with for like multicultural education. So the highest level is the affirming solidarity and critique. One thing that I really liked about it, which I never really thought about before this class, but was the two-way bilingual programs. For my case study, the girl I interviewed, she grew up in a city with a lot of Spanish speakers and a lot of English speakers, but because the Spanish speakers, no one really spoke English, and the English speakers, no one spoke Spanish, they didn't really connect. They didn't, say half the town they didn't interact with, and in their schools they would go to half the day, the Spanish speakers would go to a different class and learn English, and it kind of was a big separation and divide for them. So I would really like to, if I could, participate in a two-way bilingual program. I spoke Spanish on my mission, so I'd have to brush up a lot on that, but I think it would be great to have each student in the class, the English speakers learn Spanish and Spanish speakers learn English, and then by the end of the school year, or the school program, I guess, everybody would know two languages, which would help everybody with future job opportunities, with if they moved to a different country, it would just make the whole world a better place. So that is one thing that I would like to implement for multicultural education.